In this week's list, we'll be looking at 13 cursed objects. Now, come with me and take a dive into the strange and the unknown. Number 13, the Anguished Man painting. As if the painting wasn't already terrifying, it is believed that there is a curse that comes along with it. The current owner, one Sean Robinson, had inherited the painting soon after the death of his grandmother. According to his grandmother's story, the picture was created by an artist who had mixed his blood along with paint to create the horrid visage. The artist had later took his life shortly after its completion. Robinson's grandmother had claimed that shortly after displaying the painting she could hear voices and crying, and had also saw a shadowy figure of a man in her house. Soon after, she had locked the painting in her attic. When Sean obtained the painting, he had brought it home, and his family had experienced the same phenomena, along with his son falling down the stairs and his wife feeling as if something was stroking her hair. Robinson then decided to set up a camera overnight in the hopes of catching some activity. Later, the footage revealed nearby doors slamming shut, strange sounds, and the painting falling off the wall for no apparent reason. The painting is now locked in the Robinsons' basement. Number 12. The Bassano Vase. This 15th century Italian vase was said to belong to a young bride who was found dead clutching it on her wedding day. The vase was later passed down from family member to family member and had caused their deaths in one way or another. It is believed that a priest had obtained the vase and buried it so it could do no more harm. In 1988, it was rediscovered and was found with a tag that said, "Beware, this vase brings death." The tag was thrown away and the vase was sold to a pharmacist. 3 months later, he was found dead. The vase was sold by his family to a brave surgeon who said he did not believe in curses. 2 months later, he too died. The next person who obtained it was an archaeologist who had added the antique to his personal collection. 3 months later, he contracted an unknown infection and had promptly died. One death later, the police had confiscated the vase and now is believed to be reburied in an undisclosed location. Number 11. Robert the Doll. Robert the Doll had once belonged to a painter from Key West, Florida, by the name of Robert Eugene Otto. The doll was given to him by a servant of his parents, who was later fired after they discovered she had practiced black magic. During his childhood, Robert had cherished the doll, although strange phenomena had surrounded it. His parents had said sometimes Robert would have conversations with the doll, and sometimes they would hear a voice replying to him. They would also find messes in the rooms along with broken objects in their house, and when they would confront Robert, he would say the doll did it. One very strange phenomenon that they found was that the doll would move from window to window throughout the house when nobody was home. Robert had kept the doll until he died in 1974. When his home in Key West, Florida was sold to a new family, their little girl had discovered the doll in the attic. She had kept it for a while, but one night, she had came into her parents' room, crying and saying that the doll had begun roaming around the room and was trying to attack and kill her. Robert the Doll now resides in the Key West Museum, and it is believed that he still carries a curse with him. It is said that if you do not ask for Robert's permission before taking a picture, you will be cursed with misfortune. Robert's display is surrounded by letters people have sent him for forgiveness for not asking permission and begging to remove the curse. Number 10. The Hope Diamond. This beautiful diamond once belonged to a French nobleman until it was stolen by a Catholic priest who was eventually captured and put to death for the theft of the diamond. It is believed that with his death, a curse was put onto it. The diamond had been sold to a French gem trader who had died days later after being mauled by a pack of dogs. Over the years, the diamond has brought death along with it to all of its owners. The Hope Diamond now resides in the Smithsonian Museum. Number 9. The Chair of Death. Do not let your eyes deceive you. This is no ordinary chair. The year was 1702, and the convicted murderer Thomas Bubsey was scheduled to be hung for his crimes. As his last request, he he had his final meal at his favorite pub in Thirsk, England. Once he had finished his meal, he stood up from his seat and said, "May sudden death come to anyone who dare sit in my chair." The chair remained in the pub years after Bubsy's death. Some patrons had often dared each other to have a seat in it, but few had tried. During World War II, many airmen from a nearby base had frequented the pub, and it was noticed by its regulars that those who had sat in the chair would never return from the war. 3 notable cases of the chair's curse that happened were one of 2 Royal Air Force pilots who had crashed their truck and perished shortly after sitting in the chair, a mason who died after falling down a hole at his site, a roofer who had the roof he was repairing collapse and kill him, and one of the pub's cleaning ladies who had fallen into it by accident and later died of a brain tumor. In 1972, the pub's owner donated the chair to a local museum where it is now suspended 5 feet in the air so that way no one could sit in it and bring the curse onto them. Number 8. The Hands Resist Him. This painting was put on eBay in 2000 by an anonymous seller and is considered to be one of the world's most haunted works of art. After its creation in 1972, the painting was bought by Hollywood actor John Marley and was later sold to a couple in California, along with a grave warning. The couple had reported the figures in the painting moving at night and sometimes completely vanishing from it. It was also said that the boy in the painting would appear in the room where it was hung. Visitors who had looked at the painting had suddenly began feeling sick and weak. When any children had gazed upon it, they would dart out the room, crying in fear. There have also been reports of people feeling as if the hands were grasping at them, and that they could feel a sudden burst of hot air, as if they had suddenly opened an oven. The painting was sold and is now displayed by an art gallery in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Number 7. The Black Orlov Diamond. This 195-carat diamond was once used as an eye on a statue of the Hindu god Brahma in Pondicherry until it was stolen by a local monk. It is believed that this action had sparked its deadly curse. In 1932, a diamond dealer by the name of J.W. Paris had acquired the diamond and had brought it back to the States with him. Soon after his return, he had committed suicide by jumping off a skyscraper in New York City. 8 years had passed until it was sold to 2 Russian princesses. They too had jumped to their deaths shortly after receiving the diamond. Years later, it was bought by Charles F. Winston and was cut into 3 pieces in an attempt to break the curse. Pieces of the diamond have been displayed in the American Museum of Natural History and the Natural History Museum in London. Number 6. Blarney Stones. It is believed that kissing a Blarney Stone will bring one good luck, but those who take any of the stones for themselves are cursed with misfortune. This can lead to depression, loss of employment, and financial struggles. Many who take the stones mail them back in hopes of freeing themselves from the curse. Number 5. The Dybbuk Box. This seemingly ordinary wine box is believed to contain a malevolent spirit known as a Dybbuk. It is said that a Holocaust survivor had accidentally summoned the spirit during a seance and had managed to trap it in a wine box. The box was sold in 2001 to Kevin Mannis, who had reported nightmarish dreams of an old hag, as did anyone else who slept in the house. Mannis then gave the box to his mother, who then suffered a stroke shortly after receiving it. The box has since changed hands many times over the years, and each of its past owners say that they still suffer nightmares even after being rid of it. Its last owner was director of the Museum of Osteopathic Medicine, Jason Haxton. Haxton had unknowingly opened the box and had began developing a strange skin disease and started coughing up blood. After discovering what the box was, he had brought over some of his local rabbis to help him. The rabbis managed to trap the spirit back in its box, and later hid it so that way no one could be touched by its curse ever again. Number 4. Maori Warrior Masks. These masks were carved by an indigenous people in New Zealand known as the Maori. The masks were carved before battle and were donned by the Maori warriors. It is believed that any who had died during battle would leave their souls behind in the mask that they had wore. The masks carry a curse, but does not affect men, only women. It has been reported that any woman who has been near the mask while pregnant or menstruating could be cursed with bad luck. Since there have been so many reports of this happening, many museums post warnings near where they are exhibited. Number 3. Uluru Rocks. Uluru Rocks come from a very strange and majestic formation in Australia, which is considered holy ground by its local tribes. The landmark has become a popular tourist attraction hiking spot. Many tourists began taking pieces of the stone with them as a souvenir. Shortly after leaving, people began reporting terrible things that began happening to them. These reports range from car accidents, family illnesses, miscarriages, and the death of a loved one. Just like the Blarney Stones, people began mailing back the rocks in an attempt to free themselves of the curse. Number 2. The Crying Boy Painting. This painting had once found itself displayed in many homes in England until mysterious fires began to break out shortly after they were hung up. Every home was reduced to ash along with everything that was once inside. Everything except for the Crying Boy painting, which remained untouched. Some have closely examined the painting and have noticed that there is an orangish glow on the boy's face, as if he is looking into an open fire. It is said by many that displaying this painting in your home is inviting a devastating inferno. Number 1. Annabelle, the doll. This is far from your average child's toy. Annabelle was purchased by a woman and it was given to her daughter who was on her way to college. A few days after bringing the doll home to her apartment, strange phenomena began. Her and her roommate had noticed that the doll would be moved from room to room without anyone touching it. They found small scraps of parchment paper that had childish scribbles on them, and once came home to find the doll impossibly standing on its own 2 cloth legs. The 2 girls contacted the psychic medium, who had discovered that the doll was possessed by a young girl who had died in their apartment years earlier. After speaking to the spirit, she had said her name was Annabelle and that she liked the college girls and wished to stay with them. Feeling sorry for the spirit, they agreed. This later proved to be a grave mistake as the paranormal phenomena had only increased. They later reported that one of their boyfriends was attacked by the doll during the night and was left with scratch marks all over him. Having enough, the girls contacted 2 renowned psychic investigators, Ed and Lauren Warren. The 2 had later uncovered that the doll wasn't possessed by a girl, but by a demon who had lied about its identity to get closer to the 2 girls. The girls gave the doll to the Warrens and is now kept locked away in a display case at their occult museum in Connecticut, with a sign saying, "Warning, positively do not open." Thank you for watching our video. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Until then, I bid you adieu, and whatever you do, don't look behind you.